Hello, I'm April Stevenson, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, coming to you from the Salt Lake Valley in Utah. And I have been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 20 years. I celebrated 20 years this past April. And I am so excited to invite you along on this 12 weeks journey of holiday cheer for the next 12 weeks every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, so you can do the calculations for your time zone. Myself and 3 other demonstrators are going to bring to you holiday ideas for upcoming holidays. Today we're going to feature a card for Halloween. This is a little bit of a fun competition. So what we want you to do is watch all 4 videos and give a thumbs up to the one that you like the best, or to all of them because you just loved all of them. And then after at the end of the week, before we go again on Saturday, we will be able to see which one was favorited the most. So I'm going to start with sharing our Halloween card with you. And here we go. So here's the project I'm going to make for you and show you how I did this. But before I do that, I want to show you where the inspiration came from. We are going to do our best to share with you inspiration, share the source of our inspiration with you. So we currently have the September to December mini catalog, and on page 14 in this catalog there are template designs. So we chose that we're going to use template design number 3. I put the date for 9/27. And when I looked at that, I liked it, and my immediate thought was to turn it sideways. Okay, so I'm going to pull in the card, and looking at the template, let's get that in the camera. So looking at the template, turning it sideways, I want to show you the elements and how I use them. So here's our 4 different pieces of paper, and instead of doing a circle centerpiece, if you will, I used the haunted house. Thank you. There, brain freeze at the moment. Haunted house, and use that as my focal point as opposed to this circle. Before I go on and show you how I trimmed down my sheet with the windows on it, let me just explain the measurements here. The candy piece here, I have 2 3/4 in length by 1 inch in width. The window sheet is going to be 2 3/4 in length and 2 1/2 in width. Our orange is 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. Oh, you know, I may have written that measurement wrong. Let's measure together quickly, because sometimes we do that. Nope, 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. Okay, we got that one right. So have you ever doubted yourself and you're like, ooh, I need to double check that? And then our fence is 2 1/2 by 2. So with the window sheet, the page with the windows on it, I wanted to make sure I got the chunk of the window, right? So what I did with my paper trimmer, I'm gonna slide this in here, is I decided what part of the window that I want. So I really like this window with the pumpkin in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that where I know that I'm gonna have a lot of that in there. And then I'm going to slide this to my measurement of the window is 2 3/4 and 2 1/2 by width. So I'm going to slide that down to 2 1/2, and I'm just going to I'm just going to cut off just a little bit of the bottom of that window, but I get the bulk of the window with that little pumpkin, and that's what I'm really interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. Now, when I aligned all of them, I aligned my tops and I aligned my sides. So with my adhesive that I am going to use, I am using the Stampin' Seal Plus adhesive. That is one of my preferred adhesives. I'm kind of all over the place with my adhesives. I like all of them for different reasons. So for this purpose, I do my go-tos for paper on paper that is just flat paper, not textured. because that makes a difference. I do really love our Stampin' Seal Plus. It has a really nice firm hold. And I also really love our liquid glue, our multi-purpose Tombow liquid glue. I like the liquid glue. It's quick, it's fast. It is the less expensive option. And as you can see, I'm just kind of placing these, putting a little bit of distance and space between them. And we'll place this one here. So back to adhesives. You'll also see here in a minute, we're going to use some glue dots. So I'm lining up, I lined up my edges, and here I aligned my top, and here I aligned my bottom. All right, now for our, I pre-cut with our die machine, our mini cut and emboss machine. I call it the Boss Baby. We have a large one, our standard one, cut and emboss machine, and then I call that the Big Boss. And then the mini, which is right here. I'll just put that in so you can kind of see it. Oh, that just takes up a lot of space in our small window that we're working in. I used our die, and the dies coordinate with this spooky Halloween to cut out our spooky house, haunted house. Okay, I felt like it needed to have some pop behind it. All right, for our haunted house, we are just going to take a scrap of black. This is so not exact in any way, shape, or form. What I'm going to do is make sure I'm just kind of using this. I'm just kind of eyeballing. All right, I can cut there. This one gets a little bit trickier just because I want to make sure I have that black behind that window. I'm going to snip off that part. Like I said, so not super specific. I'm just trimming underneath that. So everything has that black. Where all of the dies are cut out, we have the black. This die comes from the Spooky Halloween die set, which coordinates with the stamp set. You can get them together in a bundle and save 10%, or you can buy them separately. If you're like, I don't necessarily think I want the dies, but I definitely want the stamp set. Not all of the dies, like this haunted house isn't an actual image. Sorry for the glare on there. Isn't an actual image in the stamp set. So here we have our haunted house. Another adhesive that I really do love is our mini glue dots. This is great for like little things like this. And I'm going to take and I am going to apply my die where I know there isn't a window opening or window opening. Most of them are windows, right? And I'm just going to put 3 glue dots on here. And then I'm going to just put that, make sure all of the spots are lining up with black in the background, and I have a little bit of black peeking out. So I'm going to just take my scissors and snip that away. So not any specific template to do that. Very, very casual. Okay, so now we have that done. We have our papers down. Let's check our template again. So again, we were using this template, but I turned it sideways. So going this way. So I wanted to show you, before we finish off with all of our fun little pieces, I wanted to show you with all of the die cuts that come with this paper, some of the things that you could do. So if you didn't have the dies and you just had the paper and the stamp set, you could do that. I do use dimensionals to pop that up. How about the hippo? So cute. How about the potion? You could even stamp a little spooky on this, going sideways maybe from the die set. You could do eat sweets. So many options right on that. You could leave it blank. Here is the pumpkin and the crow. I don't know what bird this is. Okay, so all of these ideas using the same things. I think this one is so fun. putting that there. And maybe you didn't want to use this piece, and maybe you wanted to use a different designer series piece of paper. So we have that as well. Okay, so now, so that was to give you some ideas, but let's go ahead and finish off this project. We're going to use dimensionals on the back of here to give it some height and depth. You fill dimensional with your heart. If you're not familiar with these are little foamy sticker adhesive back sticker foam pieces that lift your item off just a little bit. We have, you saw me use just now, our standard size, and then we also have minis because we're going to put these bats. So these bats are in part of the paper pack. So everything, the paper and the bats, the only thing that's not on this card that's not with the paper pack is the haunted house, which I cut out of gray glimmer paper and backed with our basic black cardstock. Okay. Now, when we are designing with elements, a little design tip, if you're not familiar, is that you want to use things in odd sets of odd numbers. So here I have 3 bats around the haunted house. I am also going to add to this some of our glimmer stars. In a minute, I'm going to add some glimmer stars. I want to do the inside, and then we'll add the glimmer stars to the back here. On the inside, because it is black, many times I like to add a insert into the inside of my card. I want to stamp on this first. I believe in stamping first because if you make an oopsies, there's no mistakes in stamping, just opportunities to embellish and layer or to turn the paper over because paper is two-sided. So I'm going to ink this up with our black Memento ink. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down, lift up. Ooh, so nice. And then the other thing that I want to do is add our bats. I'm a tap and rub inker upper, if that even makes sense. So I like to tap my ink as well as kind of rub it around, and I'm going to put these ones going this way. Ooh, I rocked that a little bit. You really try not to rock when you're stamping. It turned out okay. So that was our black Memento ink that I used there. And then another fun thing to do when you're working with your paper is to layer a little bit of DSP on the inside, because why not? So here's just, it is 1 inch. The length is 5 1/4 and the width is 1 inch. So I'm going to just take a little bit of my Seal Plus, put some on there, and add to the bottom of my paper. Okay. And then, oh, it looks like it's just a tad off. My guess is maybe I measured with my heart and not with my eyes. Have you ever heard of that? I have a family member, when it comes to cooking, it was like, measure with your heart. So I think maybe that's what I did, is I measured with my heart. And my strip was not quite long enough. Not even a problem. Did you see how I just trimmed that down? And now it's going to just fit nicely. No one is going to know except for all of you who just watched or are watching. Add a little bit of adhesive. My adhesive, I get to decide how much I use or how little I use. When you add your adhesive, you get to decide as well. I will say when you're working with liquid glue, I know that's not what I just used, but when you are working with liquid glue, less is more, but you need enough to adhere. Okay, so there's our outside. And our last thing we're going to do is add in some of these beautiful stars that have shimmer on them. I like to use my Take the Pick tool. I found when I used the putty end of my Take the Pick tool, if you're not familiar with Take the Pick tools, it's awesome for adding embellishments. But I noticed that the putty actually picked up a little bit of the glimmer off of the stars. So I used just my pointy end of my Take the Pick tool, and I'm just going to lift the stars up. And I'm going to use one of each size, and I'm just going to disperse them on the card like so. Now, going back a few minutes ago, I talked about when we are using embellishments and just in general with design, our eye really likes odd numbers. And I debated about this. I'm like, I got 3 bats and I got 3 stars, so those are odds. But I'm like, that's 6 things altogether. But looky here, this is also an element. So when we look at this cluster of items, we actually have 7 elements, and that's odd, and that's appealing to the eye. Okay, this is my card. I hope you love it. Happy Halloween. If you do love it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. What was your favorite aspect? What questions do you have? What would you do differently? Because I love hearing different ideas. Thank you for watching my video today and staying with me to the end here. I'm so glad that you joined, and please remember to watch the other ladies' videos that are attached with this video here and to give us a thumbs up for the one that you like the most. We will be back next week. We're going to focus on Halloween treats, and be sure to hit subscribe so that you get, and the notification button so that you get notifications of our upcoming videos. And I just want to say it's time to be creative and to have some bliss in your life. So have a creative, blissful moment between now and next Saturday, or whenever you're watching this video. See you soon.